Alright, everybody, hello, and welcome to the Grand Finals of SADD 2021. So, with all of our pretests and checks out of the way, this is Wolf. I am the tournament organizer, and today I'm going to be both commentating and judging along with Xadrian. So go ahead and say hello, Xadrian.
Hello, everybody. It has been a long road coming here. Many a match with ups and downs, but here we're taking the cream of the crop in the grand finals. We've got a good match hopefully coming for y'all, and it's going to be between William and Jamin and Dover and Klungo.
That's right, we
Now,
have the first seeded team, with Jamen-William, against the coming from winners against the sixth seeded team, Dover-Klungo. So, before we hop into anything further about the players of the match, I do want to get a few acknowledgments out of the way for the tournament itself, and I promise I'll keep this real quick. So, then we'll jump right into the play. First of all, huge thanks to all of the donors for SADD 2021 that led to a total prize pool of $462. We had an average donation of $35.54, which is pretty sizable. So, really happy that we had people who had enough interest to donate to the tournament, generate a little bit more hype, a little bit more energy, a little bit more motivation for all of us to try to put the production into this that we could. So yeah, thanks to all those people. But we're all here for the battlefront, not necessarily the money. But the money is always a nice bonus. So, secondly, this is probably the biggest thing here. I want to give a super big thanks to all of the volunteers that I had helping me with this tournament. This was something that was kind of a passion project for me, running this tournament again after people liked the first one. I wanted to do it bigger and better, and I had a ton of support from Sith Academy and elsewhere to help run that. So I'm not going to go through everybody, but there are a few specific shout-outs I want to give. Basically, Kick Yo Ashes, who you can see there at the bottom left, helped with setting up the Twitch and these graphics that are so nice, that really upped our game, I think, for the tournament. I want to give another big shout out to the other commentator with me here today, Xadrian, who's been probably one of the most frequent assisting players, judges, commentators, so that's a huge help. And then the other streamers, in particular William9, and then I also had Jamin help record a few matches that none of the streamers could get to. So between all that helped give us a lot of coverage of these matches. So just huge thanks to everybody here. I really can't do a project this size alone. So everybody that stepped up, you make this possible, and we have honestly just an amazing community. Speaking of which, another thing that make this tournament possible are all of the competitors and the spectators. So if you watched a match or participated in one, huge thanks once again. I think this, all the participants make hosting the tournament like this a worthwhile endeavor to begin with, and I feel like the NF community just keeps getting better with each passing year. So, with all of that out of the way, I'm going to go back to introducing the teams again. So we already talked a little bit about the two teams present. We have William, who's been around for ages and is commonly regarded as the top NF player. I don't know of anybody right now that contests that claim. And if you do, that's a very bold claim for you to make. He's oppressive on the battlefield. And he brings a great teammate with him, Jamin, who I know before even the tournament, I was talking with William about people he thought would be good teammates for him, and Jamin was the clear one from the beginning that he was talking about. So Jamin's shown up this tournament with a very strong Ayla and Maul, just right out the gate, and William with a great Obi-Wan and primarily Vader are the characters he's been playing. And on the flip side, we have Dover-Klungo, and Klungo is one of these players that returned to the community from this long exodus and immediately caught all the eyes of every player, as this mechanically just very strong Vader, among other things. His Luke always turns the eyes. And then his teammate Dover, who has, in my opinion, gone from something that was he kept up and participated and made Klungo's plays possible, and then all of a sudden, over the course of the tournament, now Dover's the one who's been like crushing people, making these plays, carrying the team sometimes. So another old player that's well known for a lot of his activity in the past community. So lots of cool people in this match. And then real quickly, I just have like some fun stats here for the two teams present. We have actually, I don't know. Do you want to go through this, Adrian?
We might as well. Dominant-William started on the hero side tonight. They've got a match record of 3-0. They had a higher seeding, which gave them the benefit of skipping a couple of rounds. I think it was only like one the earlier brackets. They've got a fairly decent round record of 60 to 27 and a average win percentage of 69. Rather impressive. And as the winner side finalists, they do have the distinct advantage because this is a double elimination tournament that they only have to win one match effectively to win, whereas Dover and Klungo, starting on the villain side, as they are the loser side finalists, they have already lost once, whereas Jamen-William haven't lost yet. So if they want to win the tournament, they will need to win twice.
Yep, and just to
Now,
add to
hey,
that, real quickly, while Dover and Klungo have played a lot more matches, they have a record of 6-1. One of those was a forfeit, so the match didn't actually occur. And their win record is for rounds is also quite impressive with 60%, with a lot larger number of rounds, as you can see there. So, with that out of the way, do you have anything else to say, Xadrian, before we just jumped right in?
well, this is going to be the ultimate match. I sincerely hope that we get one of the most amazing matches. Yeah, you always like to end on a strong note. I would like to poke fun at one player. Jamin has been advocating that he wants desperately for one match to go to a tiebreaker, and wouldn't it be ironic if he gets his wish, perhaps to his chagrin, in the grand finals here tonight?
That
Uh,
would definitely be an impressive situation. I gotta admit, though, if I have to make a prediction here, when you do the math, Jamen-William, their average opponent only scores 9 points against them, which is a terrifying number. And granted, if you run the numbers, I'm sure it's pretty low for Dover and Klungo since these are the two top finalist teams for a reason. But if I have to give a guess, it's Jamen-William are such a dominant team that I would be very surprised to see Dover and Klungo pull this out. But you have a saying here in 2v2 if you want to go ahead.
Absolutely. This is still 2v2, where anything can and will happen. All it takes is the right series of events, or perhaps the wrong series, and we could see upsets like we saw just in the previous match with Dover and Klungo. And they may be able to bring that dark voodoo Sith magic to work here.
Definitely. And if you're watching as well and you manage to catch the players' names, don't be thrown off. Jamen-William deciding to have a little fun with their in-game names. William is appearing as William Clover, and Jamin has a couple numbers of his name in his name to mix things up, just to make our lives hard. So, go ahead, Xadrian, when you are ready as judge. You may give them the go-ahead to begin. And we will jump right into the finals.
Alrighty, permission's been given.
And the starting picks were basically exactly what we saw in that little overlay. Jamin on his Ayla, William on his Obi, and then we have the villain players on Dover with the Maul and Klungo with the Vader. Klungo looking to zone out the Ayla there from jumping up, looking to get a cheap hit. And what we're probably going to look for, is the high synergy from Jamen-William looking to pick out both these players. As I get a lag spike, all players are fine. That was just on my end. I do want to give a quick warning. Can you still hear me, Xadrian, by the way?
I can indeed still hear
Okay.
you.
There is a tornado warning for a couple counties in my area. If I drop and the stream goes down, just know that match priority, as always, takes precedence over the stream. So, continue playing.
John managed to land a couple of hits on Klungo. He was able to get away earlier, not now.
William just cuts off the movement from Klungo right through that corridor. I don't know. It didn't look like Klungo was going for an attack. It looks like he was going for some pressuring movement, but William catches it, leaving Dover in the 1v2.
Yeah, he'd already taken a little bit of damage earlier. He caught the top edge rather, of the dash attack from Jamin when he landed on the awning. He didn't kill him, but he was staggered, and he probably took about 2/3 of his health off there, so he wasn't on left much, and Dover's left with nowhere to run. William finishes off him as well.
The hero side playing very defensive, relying on the strong nulls from the Obi-Wan character to catch the movement and attacks from the opponents. So getting to a strong lead already. We're going to expect, probably as a response, a few more baits, maybe some backslashes coming out from Dover to try to catch maybe the nulls. But, you know, we'll really see. Jamin has been showing a lot of restraint on the Ayla, but as I say that, he goes for a hit. Luckily, nobody around to punish.
Yeah, he had his Obi-Wan friend following just up behind him, so if they had gone for something, he was close enough to support. That's one thing we're seeing a lot out of both these players. They're playing very together at the start of this. We haven't always seen them going quite as
And
together.
Dover gets a great intercept onto William, and not only that... Oh, wow. Not only that, he gets a stun onto Ayla, which leads to that final hit. Great play from Dover.
Some of the matches we get into, and you see their starting strategies is almost to separate, like to take 1v1s. No, they're starting off here. They're playing together. They're playing close. We'll see how it evolve into something else later on, but they're sticking together. They're playing team. They're in this to win this.
You know, I really want to see, from the villain side at least, Jamin got away with a few dash attacks there. Perhaps even baits. Maybe they're looking to try to bait Klungo into this, so maybe he's wise not to take those, but taking one of those oh, not even needing a punish.
Good hit.
Insane.
Excellent follow-up.
We have a great lead right now already coming out from the villain side, who are looking to show that, you know, they're in this grand finals for a reason.
Man, that must have been really unfortunate from Jamin's perspective, because I was watching that Klungo on his Vader felt like it came out of right field.
Nowhere. Yeah, and normally, like, Klungo is oftentimes, he's a very smart player. He's very passive with the Vader, looking to go for counter punches, but sometimes, and as I say that,
Jamin finding Dover.
Jamin target switches from Klungo, pressuring down, and then goes right onto Dover in the alleyway. Either great awareness or great luck.
Actually, I think it was a bit of luck, because I was actually watching on his cam, and it looked like he was trying to catch Klungo while he was moving away, but when he fell down, there was Dover right underneath him.
And speaking of Klungo, like what I was saying before is that, you know, he's one of these Vader players that is definitely a little bit more passive at times, looking for counter punches, as he might get one there, but Ayla's threatening, and Ayla's going to clean that up. But at the same time, Klungo has this ability, he has the mechanical skill to just go for these crazy snipes. And it's not even like snipes where his opponents aren't paying attention, it's snipes where they just genuinely don't expect him to be able to hit.
It's like he's that guy. There's a number of types of airsoft players you'll come across, and I feel like Klungo's the kind where everyone else is coming out, they're wearing casual clothes, maybe some protective gear, eyeglasses, and I feel like Klungo's the kind of guy who comes out there with like the max tolerated pressure on his sniper rifle in a full ghillie suit. You didn't even know the guy's there. You practically stepped on him, and now he's sniping you.
And it looks like from the heroes we have this adaptation where a little bit more aggressive play, and William is going to be able to take out Klungo while there's a kind of exchange situation between Dover and Jamin. So now we're left in a 1v1, and this is a situation that the heroes like. William has the 1v1 proficiency over probably every player on the field. Dover taking advantageous location, trying to lure William into a play on a building.
I like some of the movement I'm seeing on both ends, but ooh, that was William let him. I was a little worried for Dover there, but
yeah, William decides to play that very safe and just go for the straight 180, maybe getting clipped, and Dover takes the 1v1 against William. That's huge. They need
Looks like
all of those.
William might have had the confidence. He's been having some strong nulls at the start, but he unfortunately looks like his null got anti-fell, and Dover was able to walk all over him with the lower lag of the Maul Dash.
And that was a good null, by the way. But I mentioned backslashes coming out from Dover as a way of counterplaying nulls. But another thing you could do, especially with Maul, are these curves where you actually can catch the null with like the side or back of your dash while you're turning around and repositioning, and you could be essentially safely clipping people even though they're nulling. William returning the favor, but Klungo covering. Impeccable play. Jamin is going to clean it up. Dover not in time.
Dover almost in trouble there with the Ayla
Risky
dash.
dash from the Ayla.
Goes unpunished though. Dover opted to try a safer backslash. Ayla did not make it to him, so now we're left in yet again, another 1v1. However, this time it's going to be Dover against Jamin on Ayla. A slightly scarier 1v1 situation for Dover.
I actually, I don't know. I think that in many circumstances the Obi and Ayla play in a similar way, but, a lot of people say to respect the Ayla, and Jamin comes out there.
I think he was maybe hoping to actually catch him on the edge there, but landing on the edge of that dome didn't exactly leave him in a very good position to do much of anything.
Yeah, it's definitely true. And, keep in mind, the score is 3-3. It's an even game to start, but a few things worth considering. Jamin and William are these players that adapt to the enemy team super strongly. And although it's even now, if Dover and Klungo don't keep this up, we're going to start seeing some strong adaptation. And William, playing defensively, does pick up another null against Dover. If Dover wants to continue that aggression onto William, he's going to have to keep up with those nice curves and those nice, possibly implementing some backslashes.
Klungo going for a snipe, but missing. Lots of pressure being... Oh, it looks like Jamin may have gotten hit by his own teammate.
It doesn't matter, though, because Klungo going for the finish, against any other Obi, maybe that finish would have worked, but a lot of coverage capability coming out from William, knows that the roll is coming out, moves directly to cover it. And it's funny, like, even his Vader there in that center hallway is reminiscent of how his Luke plays in the 1v2. He, just tries to moves around a lot and get something out of somebody in that small area, but I'm not sure if that strategy is as applicable to Vader in that small hallway.
Not without support, no. Because even the round he had, oh, that's unfortunate. Getting caught looked like by riposte.
Yep, Jamin finding a clean dash attack onto Dover, catching him out. It looks like the name of the game for the heroes here is to try to catch out Dover, and then focus on Klungo. But truth be told, if Dover plays a little bit more safely, I think that there's going to be a lot of opportunities for Klungo to punish in future rounds. Great.
Klungo got tipped by that.
Yeah. Puts 5-3 in Jamin Williams' favor.
Jamin and William, if you look at their matches, they consistently were mostly even at the very start of the match, and then they just hit this groove, and then they just sweep points. So we may be seeing the start of that here. Well, it's up to Dover and Klungo to find their adaptation, find their counter to what is now being countered.
Definitely, Xadrian. That's that adaptation I was talking about, and whether or not the villains can counter-adapt is a huge part of this match.
Dover getting caught out a second time.
William deciding to hold off engaging until his teammate arrives up here. Now there's the two of them together, and Jamin does get the clip, and that is enough to kill because Klungo did take a dash attack from Jamin earlier this round as well. 6-3 now.
They've got to do a little bit better job of being aggressive while also still protecting Dover. When they're losing Dover, they're putting Klungo in a situation that's a little beyond his ability to handle, it seems. He's not doing very well in these 1v2s. He's getting one, but he's not securing two.
I definitely think the villains team needs to understand that Dover is under attack here, and Dover's safer positioning is a huge part of this. And actually, it's not even Dover, it's just whoever the heroes can get their hands on. It's very coordinated aggression. And Dover does get a clip onto William there. No final...
Not quite able to follow up on it.
Oop, a little bit of friendly fire possibly, but that shouldn't make a huge deal of a difference. It does look like the target here is once again William, who's going to be playing super defensively. Look to see a potential target swap here from the villains, as if Jamin overextends in the defense of William, he will be left vulnerable. Klungo hunting William.
I almost wonder if they're being just a little bit too pragmatic in their hunting of specifically William, and that they should maybe be willing to focus a little more. And well, Dover comes in and he finds what he's been looking for.
Yep, William.
And not only does he find William, he finds a Jamin there too.
William perhaps a little bit too focused on the threat of Dover, or Klungo rather, the ever-present threat of that Vader hunting him down, gets a little bit blindsided by the incoming maul. So great maneuver from Dover there, reconnecting with his teammate and going for the hit.
It might have even been a little cathartic. He got just a little bit of taste of William earlier in the round, but couldn't quite lead into a finish. Well, he got the end he was looking for there.
Yeah.
They even got dessert to go with it.
I definitely agree, though. I think that the villains, like, they got the hit there and then hunted William so directly that maybe they should have been willing to be a little bit more opportunistic, because like I said, Jamin did overextend a couple times there. At least to my eyes as a commentator. William attempting a backslash, but Jamin in the attempt to cover gets hit, and it does look like Jamin also did take a hit there. Anti-falling it though with a direct sprint. And he does go down. The villains...
Not sure if he...
Sorry, go on.
Go on.
I was going to say the villains counter-adapting, I think. This is what we needed to see from them to keep them in the game.
Definitely, but we also want to be careful about making that call too soon, because we did see one of his own teammates take him out a little preemptively. It could have been a little different if he'd had the Obi to cover for him properly.
Klungo
getting hit!
Yeah, inefficient movement there, getting caught out. Great punish from both of the heroes.
Over now under lots of pressure. I say that, and now they've backed off a little bit.
Yeah, they're waiting to reunite for a coordinated aggression, and the riposte from Ayla is going to take him out.
We've seen Dover in the match with Dover, Klungo, and Ajax and Netwash. The last time Ayla riposte was almost the name of that game. We saw it consistently getting kills on no matter which side was using it, and we're starting to see some of that shape up in this one, where there's riposte just catching people out. Over in a risky position, and he goes down again early.
Yeah, it's sometimes not even the positioning in many ways, although you're right there, that was risky, giving his opponent a CD direct attack on him with his like stop and attempted turn, but he just didn't get out of there soon enough. Didn't respond to the direct aggression from the Ayla. And this is a bait, but Klungo, smart, tries to go for the Ayla, but does get a little bit counterplayed there. Ooh, villains possibly making a change, it looks like. Decide that this is not enough. Klungo now on the Maul, and Dover on the Vader.
Same heroes, but different pilots. Oh, excuse me. Not heroes. Same villains, different pilots.
So now we're going to see what Klungo can do on that Maul in response to the enemies. We've been seeing them experiment with this swap a few times in rough matches of the tournament, but for the most part, they've been sticking with what they know. And so we'll see how this works out for them in the grand finals. Maybe this is something they've practiced.
One thing I've noticed is that John and William are very comfortable taking those flat ground fights right there, and that's where we're seeing a lot of the falls come from Dover and Klungo. And I think if they should really be wary about fighting them there, because John and William are very comfortable fighting there, as they've made abundantly clear. They've won almost every single flat ground fight occurring in that small area.
And we're going to see a lot more coordinated aggression coming out, but William is going to hit Jamin, and Dover just lets it rest. Tries to reset, playing this very patiently. I wonder if we're going to
Worry
see some
about that
aggressive
floating. That's what got Klungo killed last round.
backslash to punish the missed dash attack. The immediate response from William is going to put his team to 9-5.
I wonder if... I kind of wonder if Dover and Klungo are cognizant of that one area where Dom and William keep taking fights. Oh, and William gets a good backslash onto Dover and leads to Dover getting taken out. Just not ready for some of this movement coming out of them. Klungo now 1v2 against Obi and Anela. That's a bit of a difficult fight. Two CD characters who've been covering so well for each other. Williams had his strong nulls.
Yeah, and not just an Obi and an Ayla, but this Obi and this Ayla. It's a tall order. William
Nearly dodging Williams' nulls there.
I think if we see some null bait come out from Klungo, it might be enough. Although one thing that William can do actually, and he does pretty well, is he can slow down the combo to delay the C3 and catch a null bait. It's a good mechanical maneuver I've seen him pull off a few times. Looks like Klungo's just going for some safe intercepts though, is his game plan at the moment. It's a dangerous position to put yourself in. They can double attack him.
Very dangerous.
He barely slips out. And William is going to hit that C3. That's 10-5. And we're going to go to a quick intermission. We'll be back in about 5 minutes. So at, we'll say 6:18, we're going to go back into the game. All right, and we're back. Hello, everybody. I'm just going to go ahead and reset the scores and change the phase for us here. There we go. And we have some interesting picks. Xadrian, why don't you take it away?
Well, leading off on the villains to leave the best for last, we're going to have William on Vader and his teammate Jamin on Maul. But where we get a little interesting is we're going to have Dover on Ayla and his teammate Klungo going on Mundi. Not as frequently chosen through this tournament.
If there is a character to pair Mundi with, though, it probably is Ayla. You do want the Ayla present on your team, and Dover has performed reasonably well with the Ayla in the past few games. So, you know, they are down a bit, and maybe this is something where they've experimented with this, or Klungo's kind of given a shot, or maybe this is just kind of a one-off thing where they want to see how it goes. But either way, Xadrian, why don't you let them know that we're ready to begin Phase 2 of this match of the Grand Finals. And keep in mind, you know, the last phase, 10-5 in favor of Jamen-William. Dover-Klungo have a pretty big hill to climb here.
Not insurmountable, but it is steep.
Yeah, and the key play, like, you know, maybe Klungo will surprise us. I've never seen him play key, but this is one of those things where against very experienced people,
Over going very aggressive early. Manages to get out of it.
Klungo may have taken a hit there. I couldn't really see very well.
I don't think he got hit.
Okay.
Dover unfortunately paying for that aggression.
And a key in a 1v2 is not always the best. He can pull off some crazy plays, some one-hits on like the Maul and such, but realistically, this Vader presence is something that's going to be a problem. He could get punished. And there's one hit.
Getting hit once. He manages to escape just narrowly. Not in a very good spot.
400 health remaining. Even one hit of that Maul dash attack is going to be enough. Some great ramp movement. He's putting himself in this corner, trying to bait them in, I think. The problem is he kind of needs to go for this Vader first. Oh, Bad situation.
Not gonna catch him there.
So what do you think? Is he gonna end up sticking with the key?
I gotta feel like this is something he's not gonna leave too many rounds. I think
Nah,
he's gonna give it maybe 2-3 rounds at most.
already back to the
No, yeah, already swapping off, and I did not see the other team R.
They did not.
So
Yeah. Jamen-William did not R yet, so that was not an accidental kill. So Klungo's back on his trademark Luke. I think Jamen plays pretty well against Luke's, generally speaking.
Dover getting
nice
some
hit,
clips.
but he gets the return onto him with Jamen's ball.
Now we're left in another unfavorable 1v2.
And a good null from Jamen. I don't think we normally see those from him, but he catches the Luke immediately. And this villain side's going to be pretty tough to fight up into. Like, I feel like, oop, I'm getting a lag spike. Still hear me all right?
Still hear you all right?
Great. But I feel like William and Jamen have this great formula figured out where one of two things often happens. Either William is kind of this oppressive force with the Vader and the enemies are scared and focusing on him a lot, and Jamen just goes for safe intercepts constantly and eventually is going to catch somebody. Or Jamen is bait, and William just, no matter what they do against Jamen, William's going to be ready to punish with a clean attack. That's oftentimes what we see.
Wow. He found William, but it looked like William just didn't fall from the dash.
And an even trade there is going to result in a Klungo death.
Man, that's got to be unfortunate. From Dover's perspective, it looked like he was plowing through William. But not only did he not get the kill, he didn't get a knock.
And so far, like,
unfortunate.
Even compared to past teams we've seen, like we've seen William pair with Aslan in a previous tournament, I think this is so far the cleanest villain play we've seen. Although Commentators curse Jamen immediately getting taken out by Klungo. However, William can definitely take these. I've seen him do it, but if the heroes play together, this is a point they have to win. If they lose this, it's just going to be crushing.
We maybe had an opportunity to lunge, but deciding against it to go for safer play. He's getting clipped though some with these aerials, so he's probably, you know what, like 800 something health left.
Vader can be tanky, so it's depends on how many aerials he's actually taken. William deciding to retreat off that building away from the Luke. Gets the hit, but Klungo...
Luke there to save.
I think William wanted to go for a dash roll off that building, or just hope that he could catch, after his dash attack, he could catch Klungo with like a backslash or a combo, which would serve both the function of finishing off Dover and catching Klungo's attempted punish, but Klungo too quick, too precise. William doesn't get the plan he wants.
And every point really matters. They've already let them get 3 points. They can only afford to let them have 1 more at most if they want to win this outright. Only 2, and that's just...
Oh, and a trade, Jamen finding these in the right situations is just propelling his team to victory along with the quick reactions from William.
Definitely, they've had a very, very strong performance, swapping over to the villain's side, and if Dover and Klungo want to respond with them, they've got to do something real quick, because 1 more point and the best they can hope for in a Phase 1 is a tie.
And it's an unlikely tie at that, if we get another point here.
Yeah, they'd need to sweep every single point in succession.
Jamen almost getting caught. Dover escaping the Vader. Great play. And he catches William. That's very big. Great kills from Dover.
He catches both of them.
Much needed points back on the board with the heroes. The overall final score right now is 7-14. So keep that in mind.
They're gonna need to settle into a rhythm and keep it. Oh, good
Klungo,
hit
very
on
nice hit.
Klungo. That probably saved him from getting hit by a lunge because I think he was going into the starting animation of it and got knocked out.
And if Klungo applies some safe pressure now, he could find. Ooh, but Dover gets taken out by some good intercepts. Oh, William is very low now. A single hit from. But Jamin redeems himself, finds it. And now, the worst case scenario for the villains here, for William and Jamin, is a tied match 1, which would go into the tiebreaker. But the heroes here, Dover and Klungo, if they want to survive, they need to get 8 points in a row against this team, which, I mean, I'll say it, I think that's borderline impossible. I think we're kind of seeing curtains at this point.
One of them get cut out early, which, as I say that.
Yep. That's going to be the end of the match. Oops. That's the wrong point to assign. And we're just going to see, this is the match and the tournament that goes in favor of Jamen-William. And they are going to finish the remaining rounds for all of our entertainment. So I will actually say I think that I might be one of the few people, I know everybody likes an underdog story, but I might be one of the few people who was quietly rooting in my head for William and Jamin. They put in a lot of effort and work into this. Not that Dover and Klungo haven't, but there's a reason that they're the top team.
I mean, it's one of those things where, like, everyone likes to see the story of someone rising up against the circumstances
The
and
oppressors.
becoming victorious. The oppressors, if we're going to be so rude to our winning team here. But there's always that little voice at the back of your mind, like, they've got a strong performance. They're well known for their good skills. They've got the history. They got the #1 seed. And there's that little whispering in the back of your head, like, will you actually be able to match them? And this time, looks like that's not going to be the case. May not be a Hollywood production, but more than earned.
It looks like now that the match is concluded, both teams kind of cutting loose, going for some fast-paced, entertaining rounds, and those are going the way of the Luke Halo a lot more. So.
I mean, we had 2 rounds that Dover and Klungo took, right?
Yep, it's 4-6.
So that puts them 4-6.
It is. I mean, this does still provide insight. It definitely is the case that it looks like Jamin and William rely on a little bit slower-paced action. Otherwise, they're getting caught out like this.
You know, I actually was bringing that up, a similar point in the post-match with Ajax and Outwash and Dover and Klungo. Almost the same thing. Like, Ajax and Outwash were really thriving in those super fast, chaotic fights after Dover and Klungo had taken the win. And, like, maybe they should have been trying to play into that a little more.
Yeah, maybe. I think, like, that chaos can give a lot of opportunity for the team that's kind of the underdog, you know? It's the 7-5. You missed one.
Yeah.
7-58. The classic. I do that all the time.
50, yeah, I'm just gonna casually give them another 51 points.
We really want to see.
I just want to totally mess up your graphic on the rounds win to loss percentage.
Good pursuit from Klungo taking out Jamin there. Overall, I think this was a fun match to watch. Great performance from both teams, and we saw the ebb and flow there on heroes. But I think the William Jamin villain side, largely unanswered, is. I mean, frankly, both sides were a little bit unanswered because 10-5 on the other phase too. But it's clear that the villain side were more of the issue, I believe.
Certainly.
Great, Null is going to take out Klungo's advances.
And probably the hardest part about having a phase one like that is it just doesn't leave you a lot of time to adapt after you're already having to adapt because you swap sides now, but then you're only given like a 5 round margin to figure out their game plan, figure out your game plan. If it's not working right off the start, there's not a lot of time to change.
Yeah, I mean, on one hand, being down in that situation or having like a going into phase two knowing that that's necessary, you kind of know that you need to make stronger plays. But on the other hand, it can be very demoralizing. Oh, great! Actually, that was a great play from Dover.
That was extremely good reads.
Good finish, seeing the incoming attack, and William doesn't. And honestly, well, a well-deserved round for Dover to take that. That C2, William was just like a hair too late to punish it, and Dover had the time to roll away. So.
And we got one of the best angles to roll away that he could have.
Yep.
If you can correct, if he gone to just horizontally to the side from the perspective of the Vader, Vader could have corrected a little bit and might have still hit him.
Ooh,
but just
nice.
putting.
You don't often see a Luke null, but we got one there.
I actually missed it. He got that off.
Yep. Against the incoming null
Wow.
attack. And this makes it so that the score so far, if John and William win the rest of them, then this will be tied with the other best performance against John and William so far of Ajax and Outwash. So, actually pretty even. Like in losers finals, we saw a match 19-18 against between John and William not John and William, between Dover-Klungo and Ajax Outwash.
Oh my gosh, I cannot believe Klungo pulled that off. I was expecting Klungo to get taken down by the Maul. Wow, that's an interaction you don't see happen all that often.
He survived, and just the backslash repeatedly is gonna be able to, for lack of a better word, juggle the opponents up and keep them down.
You don't get to see.
No way!
Are you kidding me?
William is going to be able to find that, but Klungo manages to pull it off. I had an aneurysm after seeing that play.
Why are we seeing the most bizarre and amazing interactions after the match is concluded?
Sorry, did Heroes or Villains win that round?
Heroes.
Heroes won that round. Okay, thanks. And it's largely just because teams kind of cut loose after the matches ended and play a lot more aggressive and chaotically, and it does lead to some crazy stuff like that. And they're actually, this side looks a lot better, I think, than it actually would have been. But credit to them in the fast pace, like more casual ending, they close this down and make the match a lot closer than it otherwise was. So GG. So that I believe is going to be 18-15 in favor of Jamin and William, correct?
I'm sorry?
It was 18-15, yeah?
Yes, 18-15.
Okay, great. So, with that, we're going to go ahead and jump into hang on. We're just going to jump straight into the post-match interview as soon as we get both of our winning side, but that is going to be Jamin and William for the win. And I see both of them down. I guess we could just drag them in right now. You ready?
Ready?
All right. Hello, William and Jamin.
Hello.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm a little disappointed that you had the opportunity to have given us that tiebreaker you've been longing for in this tournament, and you have to go and just win it outright.
Well, yeah, the tiebreaker was Ajax and Outwash's responsibility, not my responsibility.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't realize that there was a defined rule for that.
Yeah, you wrote the rules, Wolf. You should know.
Oh, I didn't see it in the rule set. I'll have to check again later. But
You probably made it font 1 and just forgot about it.
True. I'll
Mhm.
check. But
Yeah.
first of all, congrats on winning SADD 2021. You are the first place winner. Speaking of prize pool, real quick, that means that you have $264 for the team. It'll be split between both of you, so $132 each.
Yeah.
So congrats on that. But talking specifically about the play that match a little bit, can you give us a little bit of insight into your thoughts on the match, your opponents, any preparation you did, just anything really in general you want to talk or shout out?
Well, prep-wise, we were really like not practiced enough going into this because of like so I kind of got sucked into playing other games, so it will, and then when we come back to prep for the tournament, like there's no one who was like playing scrims except for on New York. We didn't want to like mess up our server, what server we're used to by playing on New York, which is like in New York instead of where SADD is based. So we only played like 2 or 3 scrims before this, and I was going in. I was a bit worried because like we weren't practicing enough at all. And in the actual match, our biggest thing was just we were trying to kill Dover so we could just isolate Klungo afterwards.
You definitely
both
saw a
sides.
lot of that.
Yeah, particularly on your villain side. Did things change at all when you ended up making the switch to... particularly when they were on villain, so you guys on heroes. Did that tactic strategy change at all, or did that maintain consistent?
Yeah, at the beginning, we first decided that we kind of wanted to kill Klungo first when we were on Heroes, because we thought that it might be a little bit annoying to try to kill Klungo in the 1v2. But after, like, we just happened to kill Dover a few times at the beginning, and then we realized that this actually isn't so bad. And then, so we decided we were just going to try to kill Dover first. And it happened to be that Dover was usually naturally just putting himself in more risky situations than Klungo was.
Yeah, so you found it safer to try to target down Dover initially?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then it was usually very difficult for Klungo to do much about it. Even like if we were able to tumble Dover, it's very difficult for Klungo to do anything because he was typically on a building already. So it would take him time to even descend and to then try to cover for his teammate. And in the meantime, one of our teammates was like either me or Jamin was always covering the other. So in those situations, there was very, very little could actually do.
Then on when we were on villains, our initial idea was the same: kill Dover because he's easier to kill, and then kill Klungo afterwards. And it worked out at first, but then after we actually won, Klungo just brought his A game, man. Every single round, he would just kill one of us and kill us so fast that like we couldn't even like respond at all.
Yeah, I couldn't land a counterpunch to save my life after we won the game. So.
Yeah.
Xadrian, do you have any quick questions? Because I have a couple to follow up / end with, but I'll let you go first if you have any.
I do actually have one. I noticed that a distinct number of fights were being won on y'all's side, right on the flat ground near the small building attached to the square building. Now, is that a deliberate choice, or is it just y'all conveniently ended up there a lot, and the fights just conveniently went in y'all's favor there?
Which
Is that the spot, if you're facing from the hero spawn and then you go over to the square building, and there's little small buildings attached to it with the awning
by
and the
stair ramp?
stairway. Yeah, by the stair ramp. Like a lot of fights happen to go there, and a lot of them seem like they were going your way. Like, is that like a favored part of the map, or did it just happen to be going there a lot?
Well, it is like the midpoint of the two sides, so it's kind of natural that fights end up there. When we were on Heroes, Klungo several times, I think, he got himself kind of stuck there trying to finish Will in that corner, and I would just fall onto him with Ayla.
It's also natural that people will go there because if someone's on the square itself, then you're often going to go there because it has many different areas that you can use to get onto the square building.
Yeah, the stair ramp is the de facto choice for getting on there in the first place.
I was just more wondering if it's like specifically like, on the flat ground, like if you are like trying to draw fights there because you were having some success, or
Well, we definitely do go on flat ground more than buildings because it's easier to cover. And well, if Klungo, like, he's extremely good at intercepting when you're doing a ramp. And ramps can be RNG, so even if you are trying to cover, you just get unlucky with the way you went up the ramp, and
Yeah,
now the other teammate's dead, and there's nothing you could do. So you want to
yeah.
stay
I mean,
close.
yeah. Some wall ramps do have a little bit of variance to them, and it can be very frustrating if like your teammate is down and you're trying to come in and cover, but because the wall
And
that
like
you're trying to
3
go
separate
up
times. Yeah.
doesn't give you enough height.
Yeah.
gotcha.
All right, so
Well-
Jamin,
Yes.
you've participated in the NF community kind of a lot before this point, doing some tournaments, some scrims. I feel like this is the first time I've seen you kind of in a top tier team, and a big part of that is teaming with obviously William. But a big part of that is also like the strengths you brought to the team as well. Can you give us a little insight of like, was this a challenging transition for you to kind of like step up, or did you find it very natural, or like just generally what insight do you feel like you have into that?
Will and I have been in as a scrim team since a little bit before quarantine started last year. So I've been with him as a teammate like longer than anyone else. So I'm kind of like used to playing with him. We actually during quarantine we like had like an undefeated winning streak versus other teams. We like came out the we don't lose on quarantine, and it took us until like October or November last year for us to actually lose a match, just like in casual scrims and stuff. It's pretty insane. So I don't know.
You already kind of were in that role, I guess.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely good to see this team kind of participate. You guys have a lot of natural synergy, I feel. And then my question for William. You've been around in this community for ages, and participated in a ton of tournaments, a ton of matches. Can you just give us like an idea of what keeps you coming back? Like, why do you feel like you want to have that drive to continue participating and winning these tournaments?
Well, for a tournament like this, where it's 2v2 and not 1v1, I would say the main thing that keeps me like motivated to keep playing is the different teams that people make. I really like there to be like solid teams that people make and then stick with that, because then you get to see like matchups over time, and in tournaments like this, that's like facilitated more, I would say.
That makes sense. Anything else?
Obviously just like the competitive side of it. Like I obviously I want to win things, and that's a factor.
Makes sense. All right. Question for both of you then. This will be probably the last one, maybe a brief final question, but for anybody who is interested in getting more competitively active in 2v2s, do you have advice, recommendations, things that they should look for?
Do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first, Will?
Like what team should look for?
What players should look for, not necessarily teams or teams.
Oh.
Basically, however you want to answer that.
Like how players should look to play scrims, or
how people should improve to get more competitive in Tatsu.
Well, I would say, I would say having a practice mindset for the game is probably the biggest thing, because I think a lot of people just play the game and don't really think about like what mistakes happen. I think there's a big difference between like your competitive mindset and your practice mindset. Because like in practice, you want to think about like, okay, what just happened and how do I improve on that every single time, rather than like autopiloting and just going next every time something goes wrong. I think whereas like in a competitive match, you don't really want to think about that maybe necessarily as much because you've already drilled in what you want to drill in practice, and at that point, it's just whether or not you execute. Because you're not going to make any massive foundational changes to your play in the middle of like a 20-minute set. So I think that's what I would say.
So the biggest thing I see with other teams that makes them not play as well, is that they tend to get separated very easily. Like every time I've commentated, I always feel like I'm saying this too much. But you just want to stay together and like keep each other covered. And anyone who wants to like get better at scrims, that's everyone can always improve on just staying together and having a good synergy with your teammate. It doesn't matter if it's like, me and Will, like we fucked up a few times with our coverage in this scrim. You always want to just like be mindful of, you want to stay near your teammate but not too close. Like you just want to make sure that he can't die, and make sure that you don't die either, and like your teammate also is like covering you. So that's my biggest thing with like getting better at scrim.
That makes sense. And just on that note, I'm going to give a quick shout out for anybody who is a newer player who happens to watch this stream, or if you're less experienced, or if you want to watch, or if you happen across the YouTube video. Pretty unlikely, but in the chat and in the description of the YouTube video, I'm putting the NF community Discord. That's a great place to head. There's scrim stuff set up there. You can get a role, start playing with people, just get started playing matches. The community's pretty good about inducting new players. I guess last question, do you have any final words for your opponents, for the community, or whatever? Any shout-outs you want to give for anything going on, that upcoming tournaments, matches, whatever? I don't know.
I'd like to give a shout out to Aslan for initiating his chant during our match against Ajax and Buck. Because without that chant, I don't think we would have been able to pull through.
I was just gonna give shout out to Dover and Klungo because I don't think many people expected them to get second place. And though it wasn't in the best circumstances, as they're not showing up, but still they did very well. And I do not agree with William with the Aslan thing, because I think it's very irresponsible to try to summon Cthulhu like what he was trying to do. And summoning Cthulhu is generally a bad thing.
I don't know if he was summoning Cthulhu so much as invoking his power to give you an advantage.
Either way, that path leads down to many dark things that you do not want to have come up. Cthulhu is not a power to be invoked in any sort of way.
You must take any power you can get, Jamin. Alright, I think with that... sorry, Xadrian, do you have...
I was just gonna say, but to whom was the power going?
According to Aslan in chat right now, it was to Will's body.
Yeah, I can feel it, and it...
It might not happen today, it might not happen tomorrow, but sometime he's going to pay a price for that. That's why you guys all to understand. When William dies to some octopus tentacle monster thing, we all know who to blame.
I already made the blood sacrifice before the match started, so we're good on that.
You heard it here first, the prophecy of Jamin. William one day will fall, and it is because of Aslan.
Yeah.
Alright. Thank you, William and Jamin, for joining us. Congratulations on first place. I'm going to go ahead and move you out and then close things real quick.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
Thanks for the money.
You are so consistently moving people out of channels before I have the chance to say goodbye to them.
You were able to. You got your words in.
They heard the very beginning of my goodbye. He may have heard the first syllable only.
Thanks again to all the community, the spectators, the players, the volunteers, everybody who made Sith Academy Doubles Duels, otherwise known as SADD, 2021 possible. I've talked a little bit before in the past about some of the troubles with running 2v2 tournaments. I think this one went relatively smoothly, but it still is a big barrier of how long these tournaments take. it's something I'm going to have to give a lot of thought into before I think about running a SADD 2022, if that even happens. But I definitely very much enjoyed running this tournament. So just thanks again to everybody. Xadrian, do you have any closing remarks?
The tournament may be called sad, but seeing all the effort from all the people, whether it was in volunteers, organizing the tournaments, scheduling matches, the competitors putting their blood, sweat, and tears on the line in these matches, or even if you're just here to watch, you all made this a really good time. Really good time. It doesn't live up to the name sad. It was a joyful experience all the way through.
And I think that's a great way to close it. Congrats to third place, Ajax and Outwash, second place, Dover-Klungo, and first place, Jamen and William. Goodbye, everybody.
Farewell.